Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to go quantum and create your ideal reality. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I heard from a new subscriber late last night who wrote me and said, Tom, I'm really enjoying your channel and I love your messages, but I just got to tell you that my life has not been easy. And I grew up in an environment where I was told by the adults, my parents and others, that I'm not good enough, that I'll never be good enough, that I'm not loved, right? That I'm just no good. And then as I went along in my life, I struggled to change that. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. But the events and things that happened just confirmed it, and it got deeper, and I felt more unworthy and more unloved. And I'm really still struggling against that. I'm just wondering if you could comment on that. Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. When I read this email, and then I said, okay, I'm going to look at this tomorrow, I got up early this morning because I couldn't sleep. I just thought, how do I convey to this person, without sounding like it's platitudes or self-help cliches or spiritual woo-woo? How do I convey to them that she was born worthy, that she was born loved beyond her wildest imagination, that she is invincible and all-powerful, right? An eternal being? How do I get that point across to her, right? That she's quantum. That it's not that those adults or the teachers or the friends were not well-meaning. They just didn't know any better. None of us do when we get into this 3D world, right? So how do I do it? And then this quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza occurred to me that I've used in other videos, and I want to start here. This is what Dr. Joe says. How can a consciousness that expends the energy and will to consistently regulate every function of our bodies, to keep us alive, that has expressed such a deep and abiding interest in us, be anything but pure love? Hear that, read it, absorb that, imagine that we come from, we're made of that divine love. We are that love. It doesn't matter what those snapshots in life have told you, right? Those are just snapshots of what you now consider reality. You now consider that's who you are, right? But this is who you are. So let's really unpack this like we've never unpacked it before. So you're looking at snapshots of the world in your life, and you're calling that reality. Right? These snapshots of things that parents have said to you, or teachers, or whatever it is, or things that happened while you were feeling that way. Then you react to it, and then you try to change the effects. That's why it's a struggle, right? These snapshots, and then you take more snapshots, right? And then the snapshots look like the old snapshots, right? We become a fish in a bowl, right? We're limited. We believe that there's a set cause and effect in the world, that the past causes the present and causes the future. Hear this, when that's just a 3D linear view. In reality, in the greater reality, cause equals effect. They are one and the same, right? It's a holistic view of reality, right? But when you believe you are separate from others in the world, when you believe in linear time and that the future is determined from past conditions, when you believe that each person, event, and circumstance is separate from you and only interacts with you through cause and effect, you're living in a fishbowl. You're not seeing beyond the glass of the fishbowl. Wow, hear this. You believe that's the world, when really, in reality, that's the world. You're that fish. You're that infant. You are loved. You are deserving. You are powerful beyond measure. That's you. Let's unpack this a little bit more. These snapshots that you take of your life experience, they were, they are, and they will be only ever one quantum possibility of an infinite ocean of possibilities. Hear this. We have, in our lives, right, we've all might have had maybe one or two traumatic experiences, or maybe they're just more chronic experiences of growing up in a household of alcoholics, or in a household that wasn't supportive, or what we would call dysfunctional. Right, so whether it was traumatic events in your life or chronic, they're just snapshots out of an infinite ocean of possibilities. But we take them as real. We take them as who we are. We identify with them. We call that reality. We call that that's the way the world is. That's the way I am. And we carry those snapshots with us and continue to take the same snapshots of life. Wow, this is big. The past snapshot, here it is. Well, that's how life is. I have to struggle to improve myself. There you are. It's another snapshot. It looks just like the old one. New picture, same results. You keep creating the same life and taking the same snapshot. You narrow and limit, hear this, your access to the field of infinite possibilities when you view these snapshots to be real and unchangeable. Right? They now become a belief of in the truth of your reality. Right? They say, you're not good enough. You're not loved. There you are. Then you go, I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. And then life confirms that to you. And then as you grow up as an adult, it's still that, okay, now I need to get better. I need to make something of myself. Hear this. That's why it feels like a struggle. Remember, down at the quantum level, everything is probability and possibility. We collapse the wave with these snapshots of life. Hear this. Let's unpack this a little bit more. Instead of looking at your life, looking at the world, looking at your desires, or looking at your 3D experience as something that is or something that is not, or some things that are or some things that are not, look at it all as potential and possibilities. Right? We take a binary 3D view. It either is or it isn't. Why not be? It can be nothing or everything. Hear this. It can actually, all possibilities exist. We're all potential, right? Look through the lens of infinite possibilities where everything is in a state of becoming, depending on what you think, feel, believe, and assume in each moment. The past snapshots are irrelevant. Hear this. You're in an infinite, you're living the wave. You are the wave. In between every thought, you're in that wave of possibilities, and then you collapse it with your assumptions, with your thoughts, with your feelings, right? In each moment, you determine it by what you think, feel, and believe. The past snapshots are irrelevant. It's not about either or. That's a 3D view. It's about what do I want to create. That's a binary, fixed, limited view of the world and who you are, right? Quantum thinking is all that's possible. All is possible because all is a wave. And you get to collapse it how you want it, how you prefer it, right? Reality is always in a state of infinite possibilities, waves of possibilities. Let's unpack this a little bit more. At the smallest quantum level of existence, particles are waves of energy in a state of pure potential. Quantum physics has talked about this. They call it the wave-particle duality. It's a state of superposition, where it can be a wave or a particle until you observe it, until you collapse it with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, assumptions, and beliefs. Hear this, it's in a superposition. Everything is energy in that superposition waiting for you to collapse it with your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and assumptions. It's just that we get so trained in thinking the same things, assuming the same things. We fossilize these beliefs into what we think a hardcore, non-changing reality. Instead, it's the idea that we are waves, right? Until we decide what particle to do, we decide on what we want to create. Hear this. It's everywhere and it's nowhere until it's observed. It's everything and nothing until you say so. Here, it's everywhere and nowhere, and it's nothing and everything until you say so, until you observe it, until you think about it or assume it, right? So as long as you don't know the state of any person, event, or circumstance, as long as you don't make judgments, right? As long as you can look and observe without judgment. They exist in all possible states simultaneously until you look with your presumed assumptions and beliefs. Hear this. I even got a message from one of you that said, hey, Tom, it looks like that person that was in charge of the mortgage is not so bad after all. Of course not, because you get to decide. When you move to a state of all possibilities and you don't judge it as bad, then it has to work out, right? This is huge. Until you collapse the wave, everything is possible. But what's happened? These snapshots of life, these snapshots that we think are real and that we carry with us and take new snapshots, we collapse the wave over and over again. We collapsed it in our childhood, we collapsed it in our teens, we collapsed it in our adult years. Over and over again, based on a bogus past that no longer exists unless you say so. Wow, that's big. And so your very act of observing, of looking with judgment, of assuming, shrinks the wave potential to one fixed outcome. That's what it means. That's what the quantum physics means when it says collapsing the wave function. At the very act of you observing, of you looking with judgment, of you believing something, assuming something, shrinks the wave potential to one fixed outcome, shrinks it to that snapshot in life. Wow. And that snapshot becomes your life as you take more snapshots, right? Starting from childhood, listening and observing your parents, your friends, your teachers, adults of the world around you, you experience the collapsing of the wave and the shrinking, hear this, the shrinking of life's possibilities. Immediately just cutting life up into these little bogus pictures and parts and pieces and snapshots, right? This is so big, and I'm not kidding. You were born as pure potential, right? And you were born an uncollapsed wave of infinite possibilities. Then the 3D world got a hold of you, right? Snapshots of events are allowed to define you in a limited way, collapsing the wave. That's what you've allowed, but now you're free from that. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So these snapshots become your limited story of who you are, right? You allow others in the world to define you and write your life story by believing that's reality, that those past snapshots are facts. When they're not, you can rewrite your story. You can write a new story right now. You become the fish in the fishbowl. Could be one or two traumatic events or more chronic conditions of growing up in a dysfunctional environment. Hear this, what I talked about earlier, right? That keeps you in a fishbowl, defining yourself by those traumatic events, defining yourself by a dysfunctional environment, defining yourself by anything. It doesn't even have to be that traumatic. It just could be limited in any way, right? You continue to collapse the wave based on your beliefs and assumptions around past events, right? So let's unpack this a little bit more. You are and will always be pure potential and can return to that field of infinite possibilities as a wave of probability in every moment and now. This is the good news. You were never not that wave. You were never not, and you will never not be. Hear this. You were never not. You and will never not be that wave of pure potential, that wave of infinite possibilities. You are only ever thinking, hear this, what you're believing, assuming about yourself in the world. If you start believing in that, your life changes when? Now, right? You are only ever feeling what you're thinking in the moment. So you're only ever thinking what you're believing and assuming. You're only ever feeling what you're thinking. So don't try to control your thoughts. Simply notice your thoughts, right? Notice them. And notice the space between your thoughts. Don't do anything with them. Why? Why? Because that space between your thoughts is pure potential. Right? Remember, the thought collapses the wave. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to get rid of your thoughts. Just notice the thoughts. Notice the space between the thoughts. Here's your thought. Here's the space. Here's another thought. That's a thought. That's a collapsed wave. That's a collapsed wave. The space is the wave of infinite possibilities. This is big. You don't have to struggle with it. You just, as you have new thoughts, you're going to start remembering that that everything is infinite and that you collapse the wave with them. And this is how it works. This is how you start living an infinite life, right? All your potential, All your possibilities, all your power abides in your awareness in that space between or before your next thought. Hear this, right? So it doesn't matter what snapshots you take, what you've thought before, what you've assumed before, what you believe before, none of that matters. It's refreshed, it's a restart in each moment. You get to collapse the wave again the way you want to see it, the way you want to believe it, the way you want to live it. You are not your thoughts, right? See and observe the thought without becoming the thought, right? See and observe it without becoming it, without identifying with it, right? Tell and create a new story, a new viewpoint, a new identity, a new reality, right? A new story equals a new viewpoint equals a new identity equals a new reality. Consciously collapse the wave around your ideal reality and your wish fulfilled. That is how to go quantum and create your ideal reality. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button. Guys, like and share our videos, and also share our message. Share the channel on your social media with your friends. That's how we get the word out. That's how we get the message out. Hit us up on, follow us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, our website at tomcaron.com or besomethingwonderful.com, or write me anytime. I'm always glad to hear from you. With great love. Until next time, this is Tom. See you soon.